Hey guys, how is everyone doing? Um, this is Friday night. Um, can't wait to talk about what we're gonna talk about. So tonight's topic, we're definitely gonna be talking about, educational stuff as well as we're going to be talking about, you know, how to basically get ready for college. And I'll give you guys some college tips that's gonna help you guys out, okay? So yeah, guys. So welcome back to the podcast. I hope everyone is having an amazing night. Um, wherever you are around the world, and if you watch my podcast, I greatly appreciate it. So yeah, so today we're gonna be talking about some educational stuff, but at the same time, I really wanna give thanks for everyone for watching my previous video of my podcast when I spoke that I was going to be making a video dedicated to I'll take half of the um podcast to talk about what went down in 2020 and that could have you know shape the way we educate our students as well as I just wanted to also pay tribute to Kobe Bryant and all the other um lives that were lost in 2020. It's crazy that I can't believe that it's already 2 years already since he passed away. I really want to definitely tell people, life is very short and you never know when you're gonna go. It's better to definitely look back on all the accomplishments that you have done and be proud of the small steps that you have done. Because not a lot of people are gonna tell you that. I just want to say, wherever you are as a person, I'm proud of you. Just keep doing you. You don't have to be popular to do things that are right. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking about how to definitely get some college tips, as well as, like I said, we're going to be talking about Kobe Bryant's his legacy and what has he left behind. That's something that's very important. I really wanted to talk about. So we know that Kobe was a five-time NBA athlete, and I think he ranks number 18 all time if I'm not mistaken. you know so yeah, he was he was a veteran, guys. 20 years in his career, that's no joke. To be doing this for such a long time. And he was only, by the time he passed away, he was only, I think, 40, if I'm not mistaken, he was only 43 or 42, if I'm not, or 41, I think he was probably. It's still a sad loss, January 26th, uh, 2 days, a day ago, that's still very sad. Yeah, so his career spans for 20 years. You know, he did a professionally, he did a shooting guard that he spent his entire life and career. And the Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers, he literally reshaped the basketball NBA. He's been doing this since, I think since like 90s, or yeah, close to 90s. And he won so many championships and so many points he has won for his career. So it's amazing that he's able to dedicate himself this long to a sport that, you know he was born in Philadelphia, August 23rd, 1978. And he is definitely uh um a round-rounded athlete. He never took things for granted. Like, he always practiced. Like, his number one thing was he always loved to practice, because he said if you can't make one shot, or certain things, you need to keep trying until you see the best out of it. you know some of his quotes that he said, you know when you look upon what he has done over the years. He even said, like, Kobe Bryant once said that, the most important thing is to try and inspire people so that they can be great in whatever they want to do. And another quote that he said was that, every negative is pressure, and challenge is all the opportunities for him to rise. you know and he said he cannot relate to lazy people. you know and he even said, if you're afraid to fail, then you probably going to fail. You see, like, like I said, there's a lot of things that he said in those quotes that we could all relate to. Definitely, when it comes to the, like, afraiding to try something new. We all humans have that notion that we're so scared to try something new that we might feel as if it may hinder us for the rest of our lives. But all great people had to try in order for them to be where they are. You have to take that extra step in order for you to be great. You know, Life could only give you so much until you will feel like you're beaten down by life. But if you stick around longer, you might find a meaning to everything that's been going on, you know? So, yeah, I really appreciate all the things that he has done in his career, and who has he affected, Um, like I said, I remember this like it was yesterday. Like, I remember I went to the store, and I think I was getting like some snacks or some type of ice thing. The cloud looked as so dreary, like the when you feel something was about to happen, but you cringe, your stomach cringe a little bit, and you just didn't want to. You were like, okay. But the moment, like, when reality hits you, like, oh shit, like, this person really passed away. Like, the amount of people that has passed away over the years, you know you would never expect. Like they will say, death sometimes hits in threes. Like, a lot of people may be like, okay, he's a celebrity, that's not your problem, and stuff like that. But you have to understand, like, until it hits home for you as a person, you will never understand how that other person is feeling. You could only comfort them at a certain time. you know so that really resonated with me. It's still surreal that he passed away, as well as his wonderful daughter. Like, that is still sad to see. Like, when you have like a parent, especially they're crying that their kids, they will never see them kids get married or walk down the aisle. All these, when you see life cut somebody's young so short, it goes to show a perspective that life doesn't really wait for anyone. And I always say that death itself has like no age, you know? Hello? Hold on. I guess somebody, you will have to translate that for me because I can't read the Chinese. But yeah, I definitely appreciate, everything that has happened in life. Sometimes you just gotta move on, but don't forget where you come from the humble beginnings. That is an important factor to have, you know? So, yeah. So, like I was saying before, I remember that day plain as day. That was like a couple of days before, I think, before or after the Super Bowl when we heard that happen, or it was in between. That's how bad, like, it felt surreal. Like, before we got it first in the social media before the news started saying that what has happened, you know. So I always say that, like, it's very hard to see someone so promising passed away, but life sometimes have mysterious ways of, you know, putting things into perspective in your eyes, that, sometimes life is not always, fun and games. It has its moments, you know. I'm going to just be silent for a minute because, like I said, guys, I wanted to pay my respects and my tribute to just be silent, and and then we're gonna continue the podcast. Okay, so if you guys are with me, let's just bow our heads and just be silent for a minute. Okay, guys. Thank you. So yeah, guys, I really want to, like, really respect that, because you know people, look how the year already changed, and still more people are passing away. Like I said, this year my job, and I think a lot of people's job, is that we should really dedicate ourselves to just help each other, because with the state of the world is going right now, I really wanted to take my time. Thank you so much. I really want to take my time and just, you know heal. My main focus for my podcast is to heal, because so much has been going on. Government, food prices are up, and everything. Like today, I actually went to the market and I was looking at all the food prices and how everything went, like, completely up. And it begs to show, like, everything is not going as we think it is. Like, especially if you guys have, like, especially my viewers, my wonderful viewers, you guys may have family members that, you know you're the one that's providing for them, and you gotta basically send money to them back home, and you may not have much, but you have to work. That's where I'm getting at. Like, the way things are going now, I'm trying to build a position where I'm able to see if I could start helping my community. But at the same time, I'm also gonna be giving you guys some life tips, like, especially educational wise. I remember I said that in my previous video, my very first video, and I spoke about how the educational system has changed since 2020. Once 2020 hit there, our entire well-being, our entire way of thinking has changed due to the pandemic. Like, we're so cautious to even do anything, and I think that's also the problem now, that education now hinders a lot of young kids that are coming up now. Because I always said that this podcast today is gonna be um 2 hours. Okay, so it's gonna be one half of educational stuff, how to apply certain things in college, and then the second part is going to be like how to, get into college, what you need to watch out for. You know, I would say that, like, especially for young kids that are graduating now, you know, as myself, I work at the university college that I'm in, and I seen students every day. They have the same problem and struggles. They tell me, the problem we have is that, even if we have family members and we are going to college, what guarantee us that when we graduate we're gonna get the job that we need? That really start resonating. Like everybody wanna get something that's gonna start making them money. Because as the pandemic shows, few majors became more reliable compared to others, right? We could take that for an example. Without our essential workers, which is the nursing, the doctors, the ambulance, the police people, some of the police people, the ERs, like all these people around the world that works in the health departments, they were overworked. And I repeat that they were overworked. And the fact that we're s- I feel as if the best option now is like we need to be more lenient and more nicer to the people that are helping us, because you don't know what these people are going through at home. You don't know, because they may come in with a smiling face. They're doing their job the best way they can. Like I was watching part of the news and how they had even doctors that already had um the pandemic of COVID. They had to go back and really work because they were short on staff. you know Doctors, nurses, ERs, everyone that's able to help people with patients are trying their best to be in the field, to help out. I don't even take that as like a easy thing, because to even be seeing patients back to back, it's no it's it tends to put a stress on you, you know and you want the people to heal. I don't think I never find doctors that wants their patients to die. you know they always trying their best to like heal. you know they pray, or sometimes try their best to save lives, but sometimes we're not in control of our own lives, because we don't know what will happen in the next 5 or 10 years. We can only pray for the best, right? So what I'm talking about that is because the way that COVID hit us, educational things has changed forever. It has changed forever. There's nothing that we're able to do that's going to change or rewind how education were back then. Back then we could have just been in class, taking classes. Even the way that the kids are supposed to be learning now, right? Even the way that the kids are learning themselves now is different. It's way different. And I think it's for the better, but it's also for the worse, because now the kids, not only the kids are stressed out, the parents are stressed out too, from lack of resources or lack of understanding of what they need to actually get for their kids, for their education. I've seen some kids that are way behind due to the whole pandemic. They didn't even know how to like, properly put like their you know academic skills into check. Even kids that are trying to apply for a different schools, that's even hard within itself. You know, um we could have just sat back in class back in the day and just do the work in class, but now everything requires you to do everything digitally. And have you realized that we may have books, but most people are just they will just research everything on their phones. you know Not a lot of people use books anymore like that. Everything is becoming so digital. But I always say that before the digital age, we were more harnessed to be in books. But the fact that the pandemic forced us to not only evolve even further from technology, but we're closer to even something greater in technology, right? So even in jobs now, right? From what I have heard, they're replacing a lot of factory you know workers with new what is it new workers. They don't even have people working in factories anymore. They actually have robots. And if you realize that Elon Musk, I think the creator of Amazon, all these big billionaires are creating robots. They're creating different tech. They're creating drones. all these things. So let's say in the next 5 to 10 years, we may not even have people working. And this is happening much faster than as we thought it would. Not only people are overworked, but now they even plan on switching human doctors with some robots to even give C-section. We could only see that when we was watching movies, but now things are becoming reality, and there's nothing for us to do, because I think besides having, the technology, I think in my opinion, we became a bit more stupid compared to like where we were now, you know? Because even if we were in like, the confined space of technology, we never tried to become technology because we knew that we created it. But now we're so dependent on it that, let's say if you walk in a room one day, you may not know who's who because a robot could look so real in front of you that it may resemble as a human, which is considered as an android, right? So it's a lot that's going on around the world right now. So this is what I was saying before. Like I wanted to make this podcast episode 4 and 5 about where are we going in the future. Because I don't think nothing right now is helping the future. Things are only getting worse. Like for an example, when they told a lot of people to stay home, right? How many of us don't have a mansion or don't have places to like sleep, you know? But we could also say the person that's rich worked for where they were. But at the same time, if we're taxing more of the rich, that also affect us too. Because then the rich will actually start cutting back on the amount of people that they hire. And this may affect us as people too, because now we can't find jobs. And even the job that you're looking for is not paying you. Because right now, to even be working, even if you're working, your mortgage, excuse me, your mortgage, your house rent, they're more than anything else. And you're forgetting that if you have kids, the cost of food has risen over the years. So now it's not about what can we do, what's going to change. Even if we go for the next election, future election, we need to start coming from a common ground, you know. And it's crazy, I don't know if it's me, and you guys may correct me on here too. There's certain places around the world where you can't even do your own farming unless the government tells you to, right? Because they feel as if it's like we're in control of that. So we're in control of that. So we're not gonna be forcing or telling you that you should or should not, whether you know the law. That's what they will tell you. And I'm like here to say like we need to start doing things way differently, because the way things are going now is not good. Like I feel as if we're losing trees, we're losing animals, global warming, all these things are happening at once. So it's like what we would expect that's happening in the next 10 to 40 years is happening a lot quicker compared to previous years. Because from what I have been seeing, from the moment 2020 stepped in the on stage, all the way up to now that we're in 2022, everything has been nothing but just weird bad news. And it's eerie. Like the whole decade of 2020 is very eerie to me, you know? And that's why I was saying, like, when I started looking at how life, education, what you have learned over the years may either save you or break you, because you may have all the ideas, but you just can't, excuse me, you just can't, you know, come to a conclusion to be in a common ground to just not only focus on your dream ideas and make it a reality and see if you could make a money out of it. Or a lot of even people that's like you would think that should be retiring right now went back to work because unemployment, pension, all these other things are running out. And I told somebody this, have you realized that every money that we've been getting, stimulus, all these things, do anybody ask themselves where how are we going to pay all these things back that's been taking in and out the government, you know? And I was like, since they said that they had like a what's that, a debt. I remember in 2000 and I think 6 or 4 if I'm not mistaken, they said London just finished paying its debt. I remember they said in 2005 or 6. I think that was like 140 years that Great Britain was still paying its debt to the US. So you could say that because of all these things that has happened, the amount of payment, the amount of time that each country put in to give back to its people, you may see one day in the future that we don't even have what's that thing that's calling a social security, you know? I'm like I said, guys, we should be thinking about all these things in the future because if we end up having a kid one day, or you guys end up having children's one day, your children will be the one that's paying for all these catastrophic things that is happening now. And I'm very, very sad and upset for that because it's like I would not even want my kid to like go through something like that, you know? This is why I say the educational system right now has failed to do multiple things. It's not setting yourself to be out in the world to like really do what you need to do. They don't give you that many survival skills. You know, how many of you, 10, 9 out of 10 of you would think that your field would be something that you're going to be sticking with? But at the end of the day, you might end up doing something else besides your major. Because I know a lot of people that they got what? They had an engineering major, or they had something with public speaking or something like that. Because of the pandemic and because of what happened, they didn't get nothing back. It's like you did the degree, you just did the degree because you felt like it was convenient at this time. Compared to someone that's like in certain field that's gonna be really needed in the front lines. Yeah, they're making money, but they're also stressed out, extremely stressed out. Because I remember they last week at the college that I work for. The kids just the students just graduated from nursing program, and some of them they're already sending them straight to the field while they're going to school, because a lot of previous veterans of seniors and nurses, they want to quit because for people to understand the amount of things that they have to go through, it's insane. That's why I said before somebody, the second thing I would say is before anybody start going to make a decision of if they're gonna go to college or not, because I always say like not everyone needs to go to college, but now it's like it goes to show it's true because if you're good at something, just study and learn how it works, and eventually you could start your own business, because a lot of people I know are starting their own business, things that they have learned over life. Sometimes life could be your biggest teacher, right? So it could help you or break you, but at least you will learn that okay, this is what I need to do, this is what I don't need to do, so that way I can move on, you know, because it's hard. It's very hard right now, especially people that are paying rent, mortgages, and and you don't have that type of money in your bank that you're gonna be spending like that. This is what I was saying before. Like, we need to start thinking smarter. We need to start educating our kids that it's okay sometimes to like fail, but get back up. Because graduating, think about it now. If you graduate and you owe so much money, I don't think the government's got on top of what type of with the amount of bills a lot of people have for their student loans. Hmm, how much of you would realize that you have to not only give that money time if you're trying to pay that back, and the major that you graduated in, it's not gonna help you pay for whatever amount of bill that you're gonna have. That's why I say I'm gonna start creating a small thing now where I give small tips, and I explain each student like how do you apply for this school and look at the benefits of the school. Don't just flat out because the school looks good. Know the school in and outs, like how the admissions work, how much the tuition is. If I take this class this semester, how long do I have left to graduate? Like, those questions needs to be answered before you go to something that you're not gonna like. Sorry guys. It's just it's tiring, but at the same time I really want this to be understanding that, especially the where we're now, nobody should be doing anything alone, you know, especially when it comes to education. You know, if we try not to fall behind, we need to work harder on how we want to structure education now. Because I remember when I started doing my admissions for college, this is what I did. You know, I was in high school. Some of the universities came by, they were showing off all the things that they needed to offer, but some of them sometimes some of the universities failed to tell the students, you know, we only may use you for either school publicity, because you know some big schools they will use the kids that has a good grades to boost their school admissions, you know, that's mostly it, and they will give them like a scholarship or whatever money that the school would give them just to be at that university, you know. But sometimes you may be the athlete and you have to have this type of the scholarships and stuff, and how come, you know, you can't do what you need to do because this and that factor is the reason why, you know. And you know some schools, after the tuition goes up and up, they may kick you out and they may tell you like you don't need to continue any further because you're not doing any progress. After they finish telling you that, you know, you need to get in, all these things. Sometimes, yes, your grades are important, but I think your life lessons should be the number one thing that's very important, because it's gonna be your entire life to calculate, to know when it's time to actually do what you need to do as the student. Because after high school, I always tell students this: after high school, some colleges they treat you strictly like an adult. Like, they will tell you, look, you need to register for this, you need to register for that. If you don't do that, it's gonna be on your own expense. Especially if you know that you're the one that's paying out of pocket. That's even worse. That's even worse. And I have seen it done to certain people before. That's why I'm saying, like, to start to start a foundation for college, if your parents doesn't have money, but they do like taxes and other grants, you fill that up. I always tell people start on a 2-year school. If your GPA is good, fine, you could go to a 4 year school, but learn how to balance all these things, because some people, they may go over there and they think they were good and now they're slacking. They send them right back to the 2 year. And you don't want that to happen, because if that happens, that means you have to finish the entire thing over sometimes. Unless they tell you to take a couple of classes and then transfer it. That's how crazy it is. That's why I tell many times, if you're doing something, make sure you guys do it the proper way. You know, go to like your enrollment, check your emails, make sure that when you go to like the payment plan, they know that, okay, they could recognize your face, that you're gonna make a payment or such and such. Because when you're taking, especially the new type of classes that they have now, where either it's virtual or sometimes it's like not virtual. It could be either those two things, right? But at least when it comes to like understanding what the material is, you'll get a concept. You know what I'm saying? You get a concept of what you're trying to say. Compared to like flat out, you will learn something and then you would not remember it in the next two or something after that, you know? So the educational thing needs to really change. You know, I haven't seen it change as much because they still want the students to come in to learn, but they're not really expanding how certain education is supposed to be. Sorry, guys. I'm very sorry. But like I said, it's it's an understanding that to be able to be seeing all this done in the matter of, I would say, time or seconds, we need to find a new common ground for education, because I don't think certain things are working as much, you know? So here are some tips that I really want to I would say explain, or you guys could add into your daily notes, when you're trying to apply for a university or a college. So the number one thing is, if you have a high school resume, I understand, especially if you're coming straight from high school. But if you are a person that, like, you attended college before, if your college got position where you could work on campus, this will be the best opportunity. That way you could start writing down every single thing that you have done. Like, if you work for this department, you will write that down. If you work for that department, you will write that down as well, just to get familiar with the people, but at the same time of how you put the project and other things together. You know, after you've been getting all this experience of work and how to, put certain things together, then I could say you could go back, look to see if you really want to do your degree or just start your own business. So long you have the experience and you have the energy to do what you need to do, it's gonna be perfectly fine. And the number one thing, the number one thing is, you need to find a common ground within yourself. You need to bet on yourself that you're gonna do the right thing, especially when it's time for you to, you know, go to school. Because even your parent will be like, "Oh, educational is important." Yes, you understand that's important, but as we could see, like I said before, the pandemic has changed our concept of how education should be done. Because I seen kids that just want to do trade school. I was speaking that to one of my coworkers, which he'll be coming up in future of my episodes of the podcast. He's such a phenomenal person. I can't wait for you guys to meet him. Um, and we talked about this. A lot of kids, when we go see them in certain high schools, the number one thing they say is like, yeah, I don't want to do college. Not only is going to be a waste of time, but we really want to do something they're going to be good at, and they're going to really make money out of it. They don't want to just hop in and just do something else, you know? And we need to like counselors, especially counselors that's like in high schools. You guys really need to start really paying attention of what the kids want, beside like the ones that are really serious about trying to make money, getting an education, you know? Because if we're not providing the type of jobs for the students to learn, like, how you think our education things are going to be very low, you know? So that's something I really want to, ask you guys, what do you guys think about all this? You know, do you guys think that the educational system has changed since 2020 has went by? You know, you guys could leave the answer down on the chat. I'm willing to answer and listen, because like I said, this is a serious this is a very serious topic that's going on right now, because we don't know what's going to happen in the next 4 to 5 years. And I think we got to be ready for the worst or the good, because either way, we don't know what will happen, you know? So, yeah, guys. So, I'm willing to listen to some of the response that you guys have, and, see where we it may lies. And please be respectful in the chat, you know, because that's a situation that I don't think is just happening here where I am, but I think it's happening everywhere. You know, people mind gets so scared that they don't want to just leave their this is their new normal. They're trying to adapt to the new way of putting things together. You know, but the educational things, some kids, from what I was hearing, they're way behind on certain educational things. And there's nothing that we, as a collective of people that works in that community or any community, could do. We could only teach them so much, the students, and then you let them venture outside of society, and society be like, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for something else. Sometimes we prepared for society, but we're not prepared for life, you know? And sometimes life hits harder than you being in a society. If you understand what I mean. Like, sometimes life could bring you different joy, but it also could bring you like different stray to not finish your education. Like, you will have doubts, you will be upset, you will be scared, and all these feelings are understandable. I get that. But we need to start learning how to forgive ourselves and move further, because the education things now, like, I remember I was doing um was it a class, mathematics. The kids now, they trying to teach them like a mental math, instead of just saying like 5 times 5 25, or 5 plus 1 is 10. They have them breaking things down even more, and that's for the kids that's like at the young age, which I believe they should not even be doing that. Have the kids learn the regular basics of the mathematics, and then you could decide to like want to complicate certain things once they like go into like their senior year in high school you know but if you're like pushing them to like do certain things at a certain age, when it comes to like putting the way that they teach certain subjects together, of course the student is going to be confused, because they're going to be like, when you go to a high school and they go to college, they be like, oh, do you know what this is? And you be like, no. And they be like, oh, you should have been taught this when you were in high school. How many of us that heard of that before? But little did you know, Maybe your high school did not teach you that because they didn't have the means to teach you that. But some of the professors will try to go above and beyond to make you understand what this will be in the future when you ever decide to do college, you know? And another thing I always tell topic part I would say that's in there too is that when you go to college, you need to not only, focus on the administration and how certain things work, but you could also talk about how to keep up. I would say check your emails, which is another big thing. You may get like an important email that says you gotta do this within this amount of time. It could be a personal information, or the number one thing is it could be dealing with GPA, or it could be dealing with like what's the association with your grades and how is it going based on is if it's good or if it's not, all these factors takes in between, you know especially if your major, like when you go to like your actual major in college, and they tell you, okay, like for an example, for nursing or people that's like doing like anything that's in the science field, you have to learn use art to draw the human body. That's the language itself too. And then you have students that they would know the materials and they will follow things in class, but when it's time to them to like, I would say, execute the actual performance of the work that requires of you, they can't understand. Like I remember they did that at the university where I work, like I told you guys, where they had the nursing students pierce the like the random students on campus, to like it's like their midterm and final, but at the same time it's like their this is something that they're gonna be seeing every day when they go to like their job, right? And I remember some of the professors that was teaching the students be like, you can't poke the students out a certain way because blood vessel, like when they tell you like where the heart is, where the lungs is, where all these different parts of the body, you're not gonna be having a book in your hand and just be reading on the top of your head. That doesn't work like that. That's why I said like now that education is changing, I think we could make things better instead of making things worse, you know? And you know how they always say like rich people have a different type of education than the regular people. That's another thing. Like we have to learn how to start thinking like, okay, everybody want to be rich, but at the same time, do you know how to take care of everybody that's a below you in case something were to happen to those people? Will you have enough insurance or enough coverage to help those people, or in case there's like an funeral or something, like do you know how to put those people, families at ease in case something were to happen? You have to think about all these things. That's why I said sometimes you see people say that it gets lonely to be at the top. Like if you can't handle the being rich is another type of pressure. While you sitting here struggling about this and that, the person that's thinking higher, it has a different type of struggle. So I would say apply that type of fundamental in your life. Each person's pressure is different, but which one you're gonna stick on the most for you to succeed? That's literally the question. It's a very good question, to be honest, because it's like, are you gonna do plan A, where you just gonna avoid, not trying to get involved and be on the low for life, or plan B, you know, succeed at all costs, but at least you know that when you have kids, they won't have to suffer as you suffered, you know? That's why a lot of students now, they don't want to do too much because they be like, what's the point? Like even that's how I remember I said that in my previous two episodes, episode 1 and 2, how long ago, and it goes even back to my generational wealth video, which was my second episode, how I spoke about long ago the parent could be buying a whole house, and they graduated and all that stuff, and they're able to do that. Whereas the kids that are coming up, to even get a studio, it is expensive. It is expensive. This is why I say, like, if you don't start calculating how everything's gonna plan out, we can never be too prepared for life, but we could just be the best as we could be to be prepared for it. Like, if the kids is not going to, college or university, create something else. Create an alternative plan. Like, what could be something that he or she may be good at, that could benefit not only you, but could only benefit them as well. You know? So yeah. But yeah, starting college, like, you have to do your admissions. Once you finish your admissions and you finish what you need to supposed to finish to, then you could decide, if what you need to do is going to be the best option, you know. So I also wanted to say too, if I fully cover everything that I need to cover, I may cut this to like at least an hour and 20 minutes. So instead of having 2 hours, so long that I cover everything that I need, I could split the video into two parts, since this is a part 1 and 2, which is episode 4 and 5 is together. So right now we're just talking about life and educational things, and that's something that I think is very important to start talking about that with your families. Like, do your parents have a will, or do they have a life insurance? Do they have things that if something were to happen to them, you covered by, using that life insurance to do their funeral? You have to be ready for the worst always, because you don't know when it's going to strike, you know? So, yeah. So, if you guys have any questions, you guys could definitely write it down. Like I said, I am willing to answer all the questions today, you know? But yeah, guys, I think we have a long way to go when it comes to educational things right now, because some of us are so focused on finding out or building things in the moon station compared to like really putting food in the, people, you know in their hands. So they're more focused about creating more tech than feeding their nation or country, so it's a lot going on right now. But I suggest, we could do the best that we could do, but we can never force ourselves to do what we're supposed to do. Okay, guys. So yeah, um, another thing I wanted to talk about was how come certain universities, when it comes to like certain admissions and tuition wise, it's so it's amazing. It's amazing to, like, I'm trying to see where can I see all the people that has been, you know but yeah, it's always good to just, see what the future, because with the whole new infrastructure and everything that has went by, you know they trying to create more things, because I would say we need all type of majors that's gonna help, nursing, engineers, civil engineers, people that deal with decoration, housing, all these. We all are piece of that piece of puzzle that makes certain things move around the world, right? But we could also say that, the best gift we could do is to learn how to be stronger as the years go by, right? So if we could start doing that with our educational system, that should be a plus on my list, because we really really need that, especially the climate of things right now. We really need someone that's going to help us keep our mind at ease when it comes to like how to divide the workload within generations, because if our kids are born later on in the future, let's make you say they may not even have taxes or, you know, things like that anymore, you know, because it's only a speculation, but we just don't know what's going to happen. So the best bet right now is we need to work hard, but also save a lot. Don't spend too much that you can't handle, because even mortgage money right now is high, and a lot of people trying to get houses, and they can't get houses because the houses are not even close or remotely to the amount that they be looking for. So yeah, it's a lot that's going into not only business, but overall everything. You know, I think for episode 6, probably we might talk about I don't know yet, but I know it's something I really want to talk about for episode 6. We might end up having someone over for episode 6. I'm not sure where it's going to be yet, but I know it's going to be something fun. So so long that I'm able to, see what we could do about, certain ideas, cuz now I told myself I'm just looking for ideas now to build like a team to really venture out to do what we need to do. This was my whole purpose on, creating this channel. Um, I think probably my sixth episode is my come up of how I created the channel, and look how long it took me to be where I was. If that's something that you guys might be interested about, how do I plan my um podcast, and what how do I decide like which topic I want to talk about that day, if you guys want to know how I put things together, like I said, by next week or the week after, the format of this will change. So I'm just keeping you guys as a reminder that, you know, I'm still getting into the groove of podcast. It's just that I haven't put more in it yet when it comes to like structurally putting what I need to put on the whole podcast yet. But I appreciate the love that I'm still getting from you guys. That really means a lot, to still be, putting ideas that I think it's not going to educational, but it's going to help not only myself, but you guys as well. Um, like I said, it's a lot. It's a lot to do just one thing alone, but it's also a lot that how can we push further? What how can we move as a collective society? Because education right now it's not looking too good. Some people prefer in person. Some people prefer not in person, because some people were shy and they able to talk behind the Zoom, you know, and then some people like they miss being around people. Like everyone has a different option and things that they need to do, you know? But like I said, the pandemic has taught us so many things, and I think that we could learn from them, you know, especially if we're trying to, do something that's going to be beneficial to us in the future, you know. So, like I said, next podcast might be at least 40 minutes or 50, depending on how long we might go along with that. But until then, I think it's not gonna be too harsh. I think the next topic it will be some for episode 6. It might be something fun. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I still have options out there that I'm still throwing out. So whichever one sticks, I think that's the one I might go after. You know. So yeah, guys. Um, I truly appreciate all the talk we have throughout each of the podcasts, even though this is our fifth and fourth episode. And, it's good to have different perspective of how life is, and how can we do something that's gonna be beneficial to everyone. Sometimes I know that you can't please everyone. That's a notion a lot of people would say, which it has its truth to it, and we need to find a common ground. We need to because a kid might come in one day and be like, hey, mom or dad, I don't want to learn this major anymore because not only it's wasting time, I don't see myself getting to where I need to be right now. They could flat out say that. And it's up to you as a parent to respond to the best of your abilities, because it's not about what the kid is learning. It's about if this thing is going to be helpful to them in the future or not. If it's not going to be helpful, then why is this person even doing this in the first place? You know? Because I remember Fergus Douglas once said that once you start learning how to read, it becomes a curse. And you can't go back from what you have learned because everything has been ingrained. So, yeah, you could literally say something like that. Things has been ingrained in our minds to think how this educational thing was perfect, which in reality it wasn't, you know? So that's why they even at my university they lowered the credits so for students to be more eligible to like graduate and stuff like that, because it's hard to finish. Let's say you finish your entire year and then you step out the real world and you still haven't found a job, because then you start asking yourself like, you spend all this time to be, you know focused following the rules, and you didn't really accomplish anything. So that's how life becomes now. Like if you see a opportunity, seize it. Don't just wait around. Seize the opportunity, because you never know when this opportunity is gonna come around again. You know. So yeah, guys. Um, like I said, thank you guys as always. I wanted to say thank you because if you didn't see the first part of the podcast of this week episode, pay a small tribute to Kobe Bryant. It's been 2 years now since he passed away. Like I said, um, still this day is still a surreal feeling. This is what I was saying, that you could be talking tomorrow to someone, and that person is gone the next. So it's very, very crucial in life now to, like, instead of making enemies, make people that's gonna make you smile and live in the long run, because life is already too hectic as it is for anybody to be just starting anything with anyone you know sometimes they be saying that notion like let the world be beat on itself instead of you trying to fix everything. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. I think I managed to cover everything I needed to cover for this podcast. um like I said, since you guys didn't have any questions, hopefully next time when I bring the guests and and you guys will have like questions, and I will really appreciate, you guys answering any questions that you I may be missing. So guys, thank you so much, and I will be signing out. So tomorrow will be episode 6. So I already know what I'm going to cover for episode 6. So this was episode 4 and 5, and I hope you guys enjoy, and I am signing out. Bye-bye.